like the little ones that we use for dinner over there. There's a
I'm actually wondering that.
That would actually be right.
This was on this corner. Decorated kitchen.
It's Eastern. Cheers, queers. It is From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, and drinking in general. I'm Paxton, that's Clint Moses. We have Vincenzo on the Budweiser. Thanks and welcome to all the listeners and the
Monday,
patrons.
May 16th.
It is Monday, May 16th. Cheers. I'm drinking a Finlandia with some sort of Red Bull. And
This is the second week in a row you've called New Amsterdam Finlandia.
You know, my heart's in Finlandia.
Yeah, it's Finlandia,
we have a new patron, Jute, and now the Williams family is our greatest contributors to our Patreons. But now we have to start paying them wily taxes because we've earned more than $600 this year. I didn't think we'd get hit until like $10,000 or something like that.
Yeah, well, Patreon doesn't want to pay shit.
Patreon's like, nah, bruh.
Nah,
but
sorry.
But thank you to the listeners and thank you to all the patrons. We might do a little Patreon. We'll see what's happening. All right. So first of all, I put up a story last night that we were going to have the Rhoot man, Mr. Sidney Lance.
Yes, I put it up today too. Yay.
Little conflict. So he's on a self-imposed non-drinking period, and it's kind of off-brand to have him come in here and just make us cocktails with his elixirs and not drink.
He was a bartender, but like I feel like he needs to be a part of the drinking experience.
Exactly, yeah. So
Shay didn't drink a lot, but he smoked enough weed to compensate for that by
Yeah. But I just didn't know, so we postponed that. It'll be
he's like, I'll smoke it. I was like, yeah, I know, but then Paxton.
Then I'm just out here in the cold asking bee questions.
Can you come back to that? So do you have any honey? Because I have a lot of honey questions. I have 30 of these.
The bee question.
But later on in the episode, we'll be talking. My Darren breakfast shamed me after the Tom Segura show that we went and saw. We'll talk about that a little bit.
We'll get into some horse Brunsby content.
Some horse Brunsby content a little bit later. We'll let you know what that means. But first, I wanted to shout out two of our new listeners. Kyle and Gina, they came in last night. Today's Monday. Last night was Sunday. They came in last night. And you know when you see people, you can immediately you're like, I know these people are legit. I'm going to like them, whatever. Yeah. So we get to chatting and, exchange the stuff. So she, a woman of color, he's a Viking, right?
Okay.
So I overhear them talking, and they're talking about where her family's from or something like that. And she goes, Ghana, right? So one of our employees, I ain't going to call his name out, he goes, oh, Ghana, I used to play soccer.
And that's it.
All right. To be fair, he may have said.
To be fair to him.
To be fair, he may have said something after that, but I just my brain shut off right then because I was like, "That's the story." I write the book here.
And just so he knows who he is, he just asked me if I can get him a PS5 today. And he was like, "Hey, can you give me a PS5?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right."
But I was like, "I play soccer." So now, anytime anyone tells me anything, we're like, "Oh, really? I play soccer."
I love Lamp.
Actually,
I love Lamp.
I drive a Ford Escort. You remember that from Saturday Night Live? There's this great sketch going on, and everybody is cracking up. And Will Ferrell is in the back, and he just screams, "I drive a Ford Escort! I drive a..." It has nothing to do with anything that's going on at all, and everybody is... It's a disaster then. Everybody is dying, and he's just screaming about driving a Ford Escort for no reason.
The non sequiturs. I had an old buddy. He would go, "Hey, how you ladies doing? Do you like baseball?" And I always thought he had a punchline. Like, do you like baseball? Yeah. He goes, well, I used to play semi-pro. That was it.
Do you like baseball? I played soccer.
But shout out to them. So you said you had some a little traffic issue on the way down here, and I want to get a scope of our listeners and how they deal with this particular situation. So
Tybee used to be one lane, and then he had a split where there's two lanes. Now it's just one lane each way. And we're driving to Tybee. Driving a beamingly clean 2001 Honda CR-V that I vacuumed everything.
When I was leaving for the store earlier, I noticed how clean those tires were.
Those tires look great.
Those tires.
The $10 wash at Mid-Car Wash does one.
You're like, they 10s, but I keep them clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy keeps them clean. So.
You pay for the tire shine? I didn't. Still got it. Still got it. Because I got out and shined those tires when I was vacuuming.
They looked
great. They look great. I've been
Looked
driving.
like some work was put into them. So well done.
There was none. So we're driving. There's a car driving behind us. Not to dox these people, in a Nissan Altima that was silver, but with a red hood and a red trunk. But the trunk wasn't closed all the way, with a dream catcher coming out the back of it.
Wait, didn't you say like the side panels were red and the
hood and the trunk were red, and they'd been replaced.
Else was gray.
And the rest of the else was gray and silver. It was primer red and primer silver.
Okay.
The way he was driving, he'd been in some collisions.
Hey man, I'm a fabricator. I'm working on this car right now.
So we saw them. We were at Choose. They were just chilling, parked in the fire lane, so I had to go around them all the way, and they were just hanging out there. So I didn't assume they'd be in a hurry. They get behind us, leaving Choose, and the guy, once we get off the bridge, is right behind me. To the point where at some moments I look back and I can't even see the Nissan part of the car because he's so close to me.
Oh, that's how close he is to your ass.
So I do what most people do, the lean. I lean my car
that's
over into the side lane where I drag the tire so they can see that there is a gray car in front of me. And then when we get to where we're turning to the left, I lean again so we can see there's a car in front of them also.
That one also. You're not the cause of the being slow.
But him being so goddamn close to me, if I farted wrong, he would have hit me. It's a safety issue, one, and there's nowhere to go. So
there's nothing you can do. So him riding your ass isn't gonna
make.
Even if you were pissed and you could go faster, you just can't.
I just can't.
So how many?
And his car or my car wasn't gonna pass another car.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd like to ask the listeners, if you have someone riding your ass and there's a car or multiple cars in front of you on a one-lane place, do you do the lean? Do you do the poke out? Because whenever you said that, when you were beginning to tell me the story earlier that the guy was riding your ass, I was like, did you do the poke out? And you're like, of course I did the poke out.
Do the lean.
So it seems pretty.
So we get over the bridge, and I'm a dick. So I boxed him in next to the car that was in front of the car in front of me, so he can't get past us. And I go, wait a minute, there's almost always a cop up here right past the crab shack. Let me get out of the way so this dude can fly by me, which he did. No cop.
No cop. Damn it.
No cop. And
never when you need
I get like the poignant finger from the lady in the passenger seat.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But it was because you have this finger.
Yeah.
And then you have the one where you're like
up.
with like everything's like real concentrated. Yeah. She was doing that and she held it for quite some time.
I think she even had the thumb, the thumb up.
The thumb out.
There's two types of birds.
So then they fly up. It goes to 35. They're behind some other guy in the right lane riding his ass the same way he was riding my ass. And I'm like, we shot Huckapoo's to get some food. I'm like, please go to Huckapoo's.
I thought they were going to go.
I was like, I want to be
looked like the kind of car that goes.
Right. Yeah.
He was wearing a Red Lobster employee shirt. Okay, this guy was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, please go to Huckapoo's, so I can be like, hi. Why are you driving like that?
I was in that clean ass CRV in front of you.
Look how close to time we got here. You got here 25 seconds before me.
Yeah.
But I parked before you because I'm not a dick.
Speaking about hurrying up to wait, we'll go ahead and get into this first segment. So last Thursday, we went to go see the great Tom Segura.
The great Tom Segura for 94% of the show.
Yeah, 94.
Well, of his performance. When we sat down, I said, how long has he been going? The lady said, about 5 or 6 minutes.
Okay. So we get to the Savannah Civic Center, and we missed the entire opening act because
we're in a long line, and one of us goes, let's move to the other small line over there. And the other people that were not me were like, no, we're cool. And eventually we did, and it sped things up. But
no, back it up.
If we had moved when I said, we would have moved.
Rob went to another line, and we all came out at the same time, basically.
No, I'm talking about getting into the venue.
Oh, into the venue.
In the venue where you couldn't bring a lighter or a vape pen.
You could not bring a lighter.
Unless you're Clint, and you got both in.
Well, anyway, so we get inside, and we're in the beer line, liquor line, whatever.
There's only 4 alcohol lines.
And this is the Savannah Civic Center.
Dunwich Theater sold out. It's over 5,000 people there. It's sold out. And there's a lot. So we go, let's go upstairs. It's usually quicker. We go upstairs. In the corner of each part of the upstairs, there's just dead space.
And mind you, our seats are downstairs. We went upstairs to try
to go faster. And we're in line with Saran, with his boss. There's a bunch of people that have managed restaurants.
Jelly was there. I saw a lot of familiar faces.
There was 40 people in front of us.
Yeah.
And it took us 35 minutes to get to the front. 35 minutes.
So some of us split up lines. Rob went downstairs. We stayed up there, and we were like, whoever gets out first. So we all double fisted.
Yeah.
Well, we all ended up getting.
Rob was like 5 minutes behind us. It was nothing.
We all got out at the same time. So I had 4 doubles for $68. Now I understand shit costs more.
We did get those 2 beers for free.
We did get 2 beers for free.
Because Greg was like, here you go.
Greg just walked off. I was like, I'll take care of it.
Y'all have 4 drinks. We're like, yep, got them.
Well, anyway, so I walk up, and I'm like, okay, number one, the problem is when you have a sold-out show at a place called the Civic Center, which holds 5,000 people or whatever, you got to have more than 4 beer/liquor lines.
Yes, exactly.
Number 2, if you only have 4 beer/liquor lines, you need to have bartenders working them. It looks like they got the Zamboni guy.
Oh God, yeah.
Or the janitorial guy to come up.
And like the other girl was quite faster than the one we had. The one we had was just the worst. We were in the worst line. She was like 60 and ornery.
And they're pouring canned beers into plastic cups.
Yeah, there was one guy doing that, and then like the whole process was.
It was a shit show. So we missed the entire opening act.
Yeah.
We get in. We finally sit down for Tom Segura. He's already started. Even Segura's like. It took probably 20 more minutes of his set for everyone to get settled.
Yeah, people trying to get seated everywhere.
And he said, and Segura goes, "Oh, the beer line's pretty long out there. Did they know there was a show tonight? You know, something to that ilk."
To the effect that it was terrible.
You're in number one. You're in Savannah. I don't know if you know anything about Savannah if you're not here, but it is a drinking.
You can drink outside.
You can drink outside.
So like
it's what we do.
Be prepared for that, and like.
And the Civic Center now look.
Another thing. Okay. There's only one show happening at the Civic Center this night. There's nothing going on in the actual in the other
and
other
it's
room.
not Disney on Ice.
Yeah.
You need liquor lines.
It's 21 and up. So, and there's speakers out in the lobby area. Turn on the sound of the man doing a performance so we can hear it.
I had no idea that the opener.
I didn't even think about that.
I had no idea that
what is this?
I had no idea that the opener had started because when we're in the beer line, I was like, "We're good. I don't hear anything."
Well, I asked somebody who was far back in the line. I was like, "Hey, is there somebody on right now?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Where's he from?" He's like, "Cincinnati." I'm like, I looked up where the guy's from. I'm like, damn, that's the guy. That's the opener. So, like...
Well, even when I got in there, now, I'm pretty deaf from playing drums and, whatever. It sounded really quiet to me in there.
Sticking carrots in your ear?
Yeah. And also the carrots. It sounded really quiet in there.
Your eyes,
and now, was I tripping that it felt quiet?
It was quiet.
Because we had pretty decent seats.
Yeah, we had good
seats.
seats.
We were in row P, so whatever, 16 rows back or whatever. I mean, I knew that's how it got set up.
And we happened to know like 6 people that were sitting right in front of us also.
We sit down. It's Jason Cox and Logan.
All that.
We knew everyone.
Like, oh, hey.
It's weird though. Obviously we're from Savannah. We live in Savannah. We bartend in Savannah. But just the amount of people.
I mean, it was
that we ran into was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
So
good show. Tom was amazing. Some great jokes.
So we listened to Your Mom's House podcast, which is Tom's podcast.
Paxton, Robert, and I did.
Yeah. So
and
he's
2 beers, 1 cake.
He did a bit about his mother eating edibles. Now I've heard him talk about there
was a lot of bits that like we've heard part of,
but never structured in a story like that. And his pace was so snappy and good. Even so, everyone was walking in for the first 20 minutes, and that would be so distracting to me.
Yeah, you're performing and people are walking around.
He did not. Not saying we have to praise that. Yeah, of course, he's a professional comedian. And he's great.
Yeah.
But his pacing, and he never lost a step. So then someone decides to yell out, "I love you, Tom," and then someone else said something, and he lets the room sit dead for at least 10 seconds, and he goes, "That was it." Okay.
He goes, "That's all you got?"
He's expecting some crowd work, and he goes, "That's all you got." Okay, moving on. I was like, "Thank you for punishing them."
Because he talks about that, so I'm like. He's like, people yell out, hot sauce is the best, or jeans.
I didn't hear any podcast references.
You yell out some things that aren't going to. You're not asking him something. You're like, hey, what about your mom?
Right? Yeah.
It's just a statement.
But see, I think that most comedians enjoy crowd work. Remember Richard Pryor in that one setup? He goes, "Shut the fuck up, motherfucker!" Like he likes, and that was a quotation that doesn't count.
That does count.
I think it does.
Yeah,
but a lot of comedians, they like to spend at least 10 minutes crowd work.
Yeah. He should have done crowd work on the beverage servers. That's what the crowd work should have been.
Man, I swear, they pulled.
The thing is, if that had been a Bert show,
yeah.
Bert would have sit down and been like, "Bert, the drink line was long. Give it to him, Bert. Give it to him," because Tom don't care about drinking.
They pulled homeless people off the street to bartend there.
So before the show, Tom posted a video. He did a thing with DJ Premier a couple weeks ago, but it was coming on YouTube that night. And so we're talking about it, and they're like, "What if DJ Premier's there?" I'm like, "He's not in Savannah." And they're like, "We could be." So I'm like, "He's not in Savannah." And so we're getting like anxious. I'm like, "What if he is in Savannah?"
What if he is?
So
you're feverishly checking Twitter.
Clint does his own research and goes through Twitter, Instagram, everything, and figures out playing tonight 7 to 9 at headquarters is DJ Premier. And Rob's like, "What if they move headquarters to the Civic Center?" I'm like, "No one would move their headquarters to the Civic Center except for voting and COVID tests. Everybody else not doing that." I love that there's no voting going. I guess there is voting going on right now, isn't there?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think early voting started this week.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's what all the
Last
signs were for. Because we leave the show, and we stopped to. We've had some drinks, so we're like, "Oh, smoke a little cigarette." And I light up a cigarette, and like 25 people were like, "Lighter! Oh my God, Prometheus!"
I forgot about this because everyone's lighter was confiscated on the way in, and we're at the wrong corner smoking cigarettes because every single person that walks by is like, "Lighter, lighter, 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 lighter."
Nobody had a lighter but me. See, I just put my little lighter in my pocket, and I had my vape looks like a car key, and so she was opening everyone's cigarettes to make sure there wasn't a lighter in there. So what I did was go vape, car key, wallet, cigarettes, nothing in here, and I started shaking the pack and like pointing at it. So she just sleight of handed her to look at the cigarettes and not. It looks like a car key, but it's a car key with a nozzle on it, and it says high pen on it. It's weird because like usually I will hit a pen in a venue because it's dark. One, it wasn't dark, and there was bountiful security.
It looked like
they had way more security than bartenders.
Okay, it looked like they were guarding the perimeter of a drug lord's house.
I guess it's because of what happened with Chappelle. They're making sure nobody gets up.
No, but
the thing is, though, I could have dogged every one of the security guards just one-on-one and been like, I'm getting you.
They
Tom
looked like
Segura.
they pulled them off the street, too, but it looked like you were in a prison camp. You know when in Shawshank they let them go watch a movie, and there's guys walking up and down the aisles?
They didn't have shotguns. But one would go by, one would come back by.
I kept thinking, I was like, y'all sit the fuck down, man. It's a show, and it's a security officer.
Yeah, right. That was a
true F. No, but like out of my periphery, every 10 seconds, security would walk by.
Yeah, and it was a little distracting. At least they were short security.
Yeah.
But like it was still distracting.
It was super distracting, and
it was pretty bright in there. Like
it was
dark.
brighter than
we
normal.
Went to see Bill Burr. It was completely dark.
I tripped over the security guard in Bill Burr.
Yeah, he was sitting down. He was an usher.
No shit.
He was an usher. Either way, he wasn't doing it. The woman was like, he's just sitting over there.
It seemed like all their staff, they pulled them off that. What's that one block of Savannah where all the homeless meet to smoke their crack? And
Franklin Square?
Yeah, whatever. It was just people that didn't know.
You mean under the Truman Parkway?
Yeah, right.
When there's a village down there?
Tent City.
Speaking of Tom Segura, shout out to Ben Northrup, one of our loyal listeners, who flew from Michigan to see his girlfriend in West Georgia and was listening to last week's episode early in the morning on the plane. And was getting all the stares for laughing at the Mr. Ed ass carrots. He got to that point, and he was just like, people were looking back, and he's like, ass carrots.
Ass carrots. I'm sorry, what, you don't get it?
And if you haven't seen our new post I just made with a picture of Mr. Ed, I found this on the internet. I just Googled Mr. Ed ass carrot. I was talking to Grant about it. Shout out to Grant always. And as a picture of Mr. Ed, he's got a ping pong paddle in his mouth and a little thought bubble with a carrot with a bunch of hearts next to it. And I was like, oh, look at Mr. Ed. Maybe he likes getting spanked. Peanut butter in his mouth and a carrot in his ass. Kinky.
I was wondering how many people would get the Mr. Ed reference.
Yeah.
Because it seems pretty ubiquitous to me, but I'm 41 years of age.
And Vince going to see Tom Segura
But you know what?
week.
Mr. Ed was in black and white, though, so it wasn't even in my era where I would actually watch it. I just know about it. It seems like it's in the...
Most of the anal back then was between men.
I watched it on Nick at Night. It was still on Nick at Night.
Okay, yeah.
Speaking of that, so during standing in line for the podcast, Paxton and I are talking about Bill Burr with Vinny. And Vinny, we were talking about the Bill Burr thing, and I'm like, hey, Vinny, do you know Bill Burr and Tom Segura are cousins? And you're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And Paxton's like, yeah. Paxton does the most, like, you bend over to, like, tie your shoes so you wouldn't laugh in front of him. And hook, line, and sinker got Vinny. And, like...
No, I had no clue.
They're not cousins.
I understand that now.
But like I sold it so well, and Paxton was like, "Yeah," and like I saw his face turn red, and he's like tying my shoe.
I gulped a breath like I was drowning in the ocean. I was like,
it went down, like you were tying your shoe underwater.
Oh, looks like my shoe needs tying.
I have not done research on Bill Burr or Segura.
Sorry, Horse Brunsby.
Do your own research, Horse.
We might be going to see Bill Burr in November in Jacksonville. We're not telling you the date. Because you can't Google.
So right when I get, so right after I meet that super nice couple last night, I have this group walk in, and the guy walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, just wanted to let you know, right when we pulled in the parking lot, there was someone feverishly masturbating beside a car."
I don't want to guess who it is because it's not going to be nice.
So I go, "Listen, man."
Go to him.
I go. No, I go. Listen,
you
man.
Can hear that?
Sorry.
I go. Listen, man. Here, I can't take that as a joke because that is a possibility. He goes, "I'm not joking."
What?
Did you go do your own research?
So listen. So he's got like 6 people with him, right? I was like, all right, well, you told me that. I have to go check.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. Take your time. So I roll outside. I'm like, where? I look. It's a dude. He just finished peeing. And he was walking away, so I guess he was feverishly shaking his penis.
He listened to the podcast. He's like, I didn't pee on my pants.
So I walked back up to the group. I was like, that was just Dave from the welcoming committee. You guys ever been here before? They were like, no. Well, I was like, well, he says welcome. I smoothed it over completely.
Just like
but I was like, I really like this dude because he goes, there's someone feverishly masturbating.
Feverishly
and I
is
was like,
an
look,
adjective for masturbating.
if you were in another
hookapoos, you believed it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I told him. I was like, look, man, I'm not trying to be
Was
a
there
jerk.
a chick in front of his face?
I was like, look, man. That I can't take.
What time
that
of day
as-
was this?
I can't. 10:30.
Okay.
I was like,
AM?
I was like, I can't take this as a joke because that is something that would literally
definitely
happen.
could have happened.
He goes, no, I'm being serious.
The thing is, you said that, and like the first person's name I said, but like since I said that, I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Feverishly
And
masturbating.
the time of night gets later, more people are on the list. Feverishly. At a fever pitch. At a fever pitch.
Like he may be hurting himself. over there.
Self-harm.
He wasn't mad about the masturbation. He was mad about the potential injury to this man's wiener. Speaking of potential injury to your wiener or other body parts, shout out to Maddie Williams, another Williams family shout out, for sending us the video of the guy going 5 Whoppers and 5 more Whoppers. I do want to point out they had Burger King crowns on before they got in line, but if you're going to go to Burger King and you got a crown, look, when I ever ate this mysterious amount of Big Macs, I'll be happy to wear a crown too. Why not?
I mean, you are the king, dude.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
I guess we'd have to make a Big Mac crown, especially. I'll make it for you.
You'll make it for me? Okay, thanks.
Actually, I'll get Allie to make it for you. She's good at crafting stuff.
She's good at crafting. She's good at crown crafting.
Like crafting anything.
Crown crafting. Speaking of shout outs, we're going to do the birthdays this week.
Kelly, our friend Kelly,
Our friend Kelly.
who he said he wanted to come over, but that chair sits empty.
You couldn't tell if he's here or not because he doesn't say much. Yes, maybe he'll be here for the second half. You never know.
Ooh, a sneak attack like that last time.
Oh yeah, he did that one
Oh,
time.
Yeah, that's right. He's kind of ninja.
I'm very sneaky. He says.
So Ashley Johnson's birthday this week.
Oh yeah, who cares?
Happy birthday,
birthday.
Ashley. All right, Sarah Bacon's birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Mama.
birthday, Sarah. It's about to be a mama.
About to be a mom. Josh Prevette
Jelly, he was
Love
at the
you,
Tom
Jelly.
Segura show.
and Ryan Sadowski. I think he listens some.
I think he listens some.
If
Yeah, I
you're
haven't seen Ryan
listening,
in so
happy birthday
long.
and great shots of the eclipse last night.
Oh, so I got to see a little bit of the blood moon last night.
It was
'cause
awesome.
The clouds cleared up just a little bit.
Okay,
but
it started at 9:38, and I was at someone's house who I won't mention, who I also invited tonight, didn't show up, and was like, "All right, you ready to go to the park?" I'm like, "It just started." He's like, "Yeah, we can go. We don't want to miss anything." I'm like, "Watching an eclipse is like watching a 14-inch dick penetrate a butthole. It takes 2 hours, and it's very, very slow."
Did
That
you?
is such a descriptive
Wow,
reference.
that was descriptive.
Yeah, I
And
The
did.
slowest.
I went on that journey with you. You really painted the picture for me.
So many thoughts in my mind right now.
And I looked over at
It's
Vinny.
not feverishly.
I looked over
it's not
at
a
Vinny
feverish penetration.
mid-story. I was like, are we feeling the exact
It's not a
same way
feverish.
right now?
It's not a feverish penetration. It's very slow. Not a fevered pitch.
He was feverishly masturbating to Mr. Ed in the blood moon.
We obviously watch different kind of porn.
We
Talked about that last week.
we had
I pulled up my computer.
I watched Horse Brunsby porn.
Horse Brunsby porn. Horse Brunsby.
So we'll address that. So last week, the minute we stopped recording,
I'll tell you this again. So every week, Vinny and I alternate who drives. This week, I am not driving. I'll be a little more inebriated than Vinny is. We'll find out in the second half.
I'm
see.
chilling.
But Vinny was not driving last week. So Vinny had, like an 8-pack of Budweiser Tall Boys or whatever.
I had 8 from beginning to end.
Oh, nice. And they're tall boys, too, weren't they?
Yeah, they were tall boys.
So he had
I think,
11
yeah.
beers. And he get off. Literally, the mic's been off for 1 minute. And he's trying.
he was trying to say Bruce
He
Hornsby.
goes, Horse Brunsby.
Horse Brunsby.
And he said it so confidently. And we just started laughing. And he's like, what?
And I was like, we literally stopped recording 1 minute
I
ago.
know. And it was a horse thing. And we've been talking
I
about
know,
horses.
Well, that's why it slipped into
That's why it happened. I was so,
Yeah, you
all
said-
the Mr. Ed.
Oh, the Mr. Ed and bestiality.
Horse Brunsby.
Horse Brunsby.
You'll put so many weird
Vinny, that
thoughts
could be-
in my head.
That's
about
Vinny's
an
porn
hour.
name now is Horse Brunsby.
That is
like
the best.
that.
Get a
That's
horse.
Great.
That is the best porn
That is the
name I've
best
ever
porn name.
heard.
Horse
Horse
Brunsby.
Brunsby. That might have to be
All
the
right, so
name
we've got
of the
Paxton, Clint Moses, and Horse
Horse
Brunsby.
Brunsby over there.
Oh,
We had, speaking of penetrating, we had a couple of bachelorette parties come in the other night, and there's a fear that strikes inside of your heart when you see sashes
I have a different fear than you have.
or women in all the same shirt or
buttons.
crowns, whatever.
That's the Burger King crowns.
So this one group comes in, and the entire world collectively sighed at the same time.
Oh, they were white. Okay.
Yeah, they were very white. So they come in. I see them gathering. We're super busy. I see them kind of muddling around. I see one lady, not the mother, but she was the mother of the group. She wasn't there.
Yes. I am often the father of my groups.
She walks up. She goes, "See all these bitches back here?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I'm in charge of them. Don't listen to any of them. I'm going to order for them, and you're always going to go through me. and I'm going to get all their stuff together, and we're going to order all at the same time.
Holy horse
Let's
Brunsby.
go.
I was like, are you married? I love you.
I played soccer.
I played.
Oh, you're buying everything? I played soccer.
Yeah.
Do you like baseball?
I mean, that's great.
Here's the weird thing, though. She goes, I got 13 bitches with me, whatever. She ended up getting like 5 beers and 2 liquor drinks. Oh, because I guess they had been other places, and it was like a little later towards the night, and I was
anyone
like,
that's willing to be like, look, the tap, they're all on one tap. That's my favorite thing.
well, see, I'll be like, hey, can I just put it all on you?
Yeah.
And then later on,
Venmo.
we'll find a way to split it. I'll just be like, hey, look, I just don't want to do 2 drinks for just.
Yeah, that way I know where everybody's
Let's
on
do
one.
like thirds, halves, quarters, whatever. But I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it. But she was like, I'm buying it all. And then at the end, her and the second most sober girl were like, hey,
The stepmother.
They were like, hey, just take the whole thing and split it between the 2 of us.
That's the move.
Yeah.
See,
How about you just out with your friends? Buy your friends drinks.
We
your
went
own
out
shit.
for Charlotte's wedding night, where one of our friends got arrested as we were approaching the after party. So we went to the reception.
Oh, at least you got to the after party before
So we
getting
leave the reception. Shout out to Breezy. We got the Breezy bus, drove us there. It was a nice, smooth ride. Charlotte and Sean rode the Breezy bus. I came behind them in another Breezy. We roll up, and someone who's related to Vinny is in handcuffs outside. It's a female. Ooh. We will discuss that on the Patreon today.
I got a
actually.
guess. I got a good guess.
Oh, wow.
In fact,
I think
you
I
know
know
what?
who this is.
I'm going to stop this story, and we'll take it to the Patreon.
I like that call.
Okay.
I like that.
But here's what reminded me of it. As we walked into the first bar, we'll call it Times of Tybee. I go,
Ryby rhymes. You're so good at.
I walk
You're
in.
so good at not giving the
disguising
names of things.
It's not even on Tybee. And I hand them my credit card and go, hey, everyone dressed like they're at a wedding is on this tab. No shots. I said, no
shots?
And if they
Perfect.
change clothes, then they don't get to be on the tab. And the bartender's like, all right. And then some conflict ensued, and we'll get that on the Patreon. There's some. I'm a little mad about it now. That I
You
thought
know
about
what you
it.
call that in the business? That's called a tease.
That's called a tease, Mr.
Well, we're not
Brunsby.
going to the Patreon after this. We're going to the second segment, but yeah, we'll see you in the second segment.
We will.
And welcome back to the Paxton Show because there's Clint.
Hey.
That's a very floral smell you got going on there.
Quite, hey.
Ask me about my floral.
Sorry, Clint needed a little energy in the form of marijuana.
The form of sativa.
So that was the question I was going to ask Paxton. Do you think Purple Haze is a sativa or an indica?
I would think, with my very limited knowledge of marijuana,
Yeah.
that Purple Haze would be indica.
Because of the song, Purple Haze, like, inside my brain, like the whole song.
Yeah.
So I've been smoking.
Yeah, but Purple Haze is about LSD, though.
Right, but like that's what the weed was named. For.
I
Anyways,
didn't know Purple Haze was about LSD until right now.
So
was today
I
years
just always
old.
thought
In my
Purple
life.
Haze indica because it just sounds like it's an indica. And when I've smoked it before, but I never
Yeah.
actually bought it. Now when I get the menu, I look everything up and was like, what the hell? It's like a 75% sativa.
You're like, no wonder it was all in my brain.
Yes, it is all in my brain. Because like I figure if you're smoking, the sativa is like your worst enemy.
Yeah. So I don't know what we smoked whenever Shay was on the podcast.
It was a hybrid, but it was 60-40 sativa.
But
dominant.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter sativa, indica, anything. It's panic attack.
It was 12% bee pollen.
It's
and
it's panica for me.
1 millimeter per acre.
Welcome back
Yeah.
to the podcast. Today's been very, very fun for me. I'm the least hungover I've ever been on a Monday.
Congratulations.
That's it.
I was not hungover at all today.
It feels pretty nice.
I sweated it out. It was 97.2 degrees at the hottest point today in the shed gym.
All I had to do was go to the post office and go deposit some money to pay some bills, and I was
Fresh as a daisy.
no, I was dripping sweat
It
still.
is summer in Savannah. It was 99 with heat index.
But I'm the sweatiest dude that's ever existed. Anyways, so
I sat by the pool. It was awesome.
I sat by the pool. So speaking of sweating, so this wasn't even on my notes for the podcast today, but we talked about it during the break. So at work Saturday, we were out of Shinerbach and we ran out of Bold Rock cider, a couple other things. And Amanda, shout out, a listener, she said, "Yeah, we didn't get a few of our typical deliveries because 5 of their drivers
from one company.
from one company quit." And we began to talk because, so I know a couple of the other delivery drivers from some of the other companies in Savannah, and they don't have employee turnover like that because
they pay very well.
Not only do they pay well, but when we got to talking, I was like, oh, I bet if five drivers, I don't know how many they have overall, but if 5 of them quit,
they have 5 less than they had 2 weeks ago.
That means that they all got together and quit at the same time, or whatever, right? So those drivers, especially when they come out to Tybee to deliver just to Acapulco,
that's a load.
it is,
a lot of booze.
It's 20 kegs, it's 50 cases of beer, it's this and that, and these guys are hauling dump truck ass, bringing so much stuff. They work hard as fuck. I will take every fuck for that. These dudes work hard as fuck. They bring all the kegs into the cooler.
And it's usually just one guy too, so it's a lot of work.
So the
all got a ramp.
The other companies take care of their drivers because their drivers are their lifeblood to get the product delivered. So if all 5 of those drivers quit at the same time, I imagine I don't think it's just about pay because I know what happened.
Apparently, they're paid like 30% less than the other companies, from what I've heard.
Okay.
The lowest I've heard is $75,000 a year, but it's of upwards of $110,000 a year.
Okay,
if you deliver for a company in Savannah,
so let's say you go in and you work for the company that is paying you $75,000 a year, whatever. You can take so much in terms of, okay, I'm making good money, I should be treated properly.
Yeah, I mean.
But then these companies that don't care if they have employee turnover, they're like, oh, someone quit. We're just going to double this other person's load and not give them overtime.
Oh, yeah, that's the usual move.
So that's what's happened in the current U.S. Company-wise.
The economy.
Not just the economy, but just the ether of running a business. It's like, oh, there's someone else that will.
Did you get a contact, Ty?
Yeah, I think I did.
I was
there's
ready.
someone.
Already have it.
I'm off track. I'm back on now.
You're very passionate about
this.
There's
There's someone else that will take their place. So they're like, fuck you. Someone else will do this job for less money, less benefits, and take on a bigger workload.
Fuck. I just want to say one just because I feel bad.
I haven't even done one yet. I was like, are we really going to go
I'll
this far?
fuck this whole thing right now because thinking about it now, because a couple of my close friends are drivers, and they're pretty well taken care of, but still, the workload is insane because especially like holiday week.
If you're just driving a truck and somebody pulls up the back of that truck with a forklift and unloads everything, shout out to Ben Northrop again, then you're not doing the hauling of the kegs of beer.
Yes. And the
shout
cases
out to Slow hauls kegs.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like, Chris is amazing. He delivers to me at Social Club, and he's the best. He's one of the best.
And these guys work so goddamn hard. And for the company to be like, oh, if you don't want to work overtime for the same pay or me adding a workload to you without telling you, you're replaceable.
Yeah, but not 5 people. There's power numbers.
And I like that. I like that they joined together.
Some sort of union.
But the thing is, we didn't get that delivery, whatever. We're fine. I was actually like, I'm not mad because if those guys got together and said, fuck,
I'm proud of them.
Fuck this, we're not going to be treated that way.
True, I think.
You gotta stand up. I'm going to fuck all night. Okay,
if
you know me,
just like Horse Brunsby.
If you know me,
just like Horse Brunsby.
But
I play soccer.
There was a restaurant down here that they all staged the same kind of coup at the same time, except they upper decked the toilet before they all left.
There was a lot of things they did. They changed the sign outside, and we don't pay our servers.
I've been a part of a mass walkout before.
Have you?
Yeah, it was on like Memorial Day weekend, or it was on a holiday weekend. And we had an owner who was very rude and cussed us out the night before and made us clean the whole place. And like,
is this when you work for your dad?
My dad. I was working for my dad, who was working for this place. And my dad walked in, and this owner, when he walked in, asked what was wrong with him. And he said, "Nothing. I'm a little hungover." And she looked at him and goes, even said she looked at him and goes, "Why don't you stop being such a pussy?" And like after like a crazy holiday weekend and. Somebody walked upstairs and said, "Hey, Vinny, your dad just quit." And it was like my Jerry Maguire moment. Like I had my card because you have to swipe those fucking cards to like use your system. And I was like, "Here's all my tips. Here's all the cash I'm taking. Here's my card. I'm out. I'm really sorry to do this to y'all." And I was like, "Who's coming with me?" And like a couple people did. And like 3 or 4 people walked out. And then the night shift, we called the night shift, and they were like, "Yeah, fuck that. Vince is out. We're out." Like it was.
I like the calm. Who's coming with me? Not like.
Who's coming with me?
You just go, I'd like to have everyone's attention for a second.
Who's coming with me?
Who is coming?
It was
with
more
me?
like, are you really doing it? And I was like, yeah. And I was like,
Let's all take all the ketchup just to be dicks. All something they need, and more importantly, this
treat your employees
everybody
like
steal
human
10
beings.
forks. Let's go.
If you're not going to treat your employees like human beings, get fucked.
Here's the thing. No matter
we
what.
open up the F faucet. It just came.
Oh man, we
pouring out.
just cracked that thing wide open. The thing about that is, so obviously your employees are supposed to do their job. Like there's certain things you expect, but there are certain times where if you ask of them things that you will not do yourself,
Oh yeah.
then there's a disparity there between what you can expect and what you should expect. Everyone should do their job. I'm not saying lazy people should
Right.
get by doing the minimum.
But like, so I'll give you an example of this. All right, my job, my current previous manager was Saran, awesome guy. He would do a lot of the literal heavy lifting of things. He would fix things that normally the owners would be the ones to fix.
Right.
When our previous manager was a female, she was in early 60s. I think she could have been 50s. She was really hard to tell.
Yeah.
She's a hot Canadian lady, but she wouldn't do. She's not going to plunge the toilet on a Friday night at 9:30 because she can't get poop all over her dress and stuff. So he comes in, and I'm like, look, this bathroom door's been broken for 3 months. Hey, do you mind if I change the lock from the bathroom door to the closet door, which the closet shouldn't be locked anyways, and put that lock over here? And he goes, hey, I'll just do it right now. Thanks for the idea, though. Instead of being like, yeah, take care of that for me.
Yeah.
And I volunteered to do it and was going to do it, but he was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm going to do it right now. And the same guy last Friday, my first Friday working all year.
Purple haze under my brain.
Somebody's high.
I just couldn't. I forgot I actually had to work a Friday, but the toilet was packed full of things that it shouldn't have been. It should have gone away. It wouldn't. So I'm trying to plunge it before work. But sorry if you're not watching YouTube or if you're on Spotify, turn on to watch. I'm doing this to try not to get poop flecks on my feet or my pants when I'm wearing nice pressed clothes. So I'm like plunging the toilet from far away, and so like I can't get the right angle to get the.
That's like planking almost. Like that's
yeah.
a lower back workout. That's good.
Yeah, it was like the deadlift.
Management, man.
The deadlift plunge.
Fixing those problems.
I'm helping. I do this. It won't go down. So they call the owner, and he comes in Tivas. Bold move. Bold move.
Bold.
He goes, what are you, a pussy? I got it in one plunge. I'm like, well, I loosened it up for you.
Nice.
You got to say that. That's the line.
I loosened the stool for you. I'm
loosened the
like
stool for
a
you.
stool softener.
Oh my God! I should have said he's a 65-year-old gay man. He loves stool softener jokes. I like changed shirts the other day, and it was like 11:30. The dining room's dark. I took my shirt off, put the shirt on in 2 seconds, and one server goes, "Just changing your shirts in the dining room." I'm like, "Go complain to the owners. They're both here. I bet they're okay with it."
Yeah, I
She's
can
like, "Damn it."
almost guarantee you that they're okay with it.
So I had a
She didn't turn away
terrible, oh shit, I'm the manager. I have to do this moment this weekend at Social Club.
Did it involve poop also?
No, we have a small grill there. We cook burgers, hot dogs, like it's our only food. It's a small grill. Our kitchen manager, Gil, shout out to Gil. He doesn't listen because he's an asshole and he never would.
I'll never get him a PS5.
Yeah, but
never get a PS5.
He was out of town and he works hard. He took a vacation. He only had 2 people to work on Friday night. And one of the guys had a knee infection and was running a fever and had to go to the hospital.
A what
and got
infection?
Sick. A knee infection,
Knee
like
infection.
his scabs. Like he's a dumb skateboard kid. Like
You can
he's
get
not dumb.
sepsis. You
He's
get
a great
1,000
kid,
Hey,
but
hold the dumb out. I'm a skateboard kid,
I mean,
I'm dumb.
And we
but
had a lot of knee infections.
Paxton, do you ever got any kind of injury from a skateboard that maybe kept you out of stuff for a
I
while?
don't know, maybe once or twice.
So the only
I don't mean his shoulder in there. Sorry.
The only person I had to work the grill was a girl who has a broken arm and is in a cast up to her bicep. Like, can't even move her elbow. So I've never worked the grill before at Social, so guess who gets to
You
work
know how
the
to
grill?
grill very well, so hey, get it.
You got to do it. Like,
Here's the thing,
and had to work the grill all night.
even not being managerial. Shout out Eric and Heather, number one, because Eric and Heather would never ask us.
This is going to be the rest of the podcast and the next 3 podcasts. If you go down the list of number 1 is starting now.
Yeah.
They will
The cool
never.
shit they do for us.
will never ask us
to do anything they wouldn't do.
that they wouldn't already do. They're going to plunge into it.
Anything.
Which I appreciate, but and back to what you were talking about, like Saran. Like,
Eric wants to do it. He's like, I got
kinda,
this.
yeah. He's like, I'd rather get out of the kitchen.
I'd
for a
rather just
second.
do it my way fast and rather than hear you
Thing is,
bitch
like,
about doing it your
I
way.
don't work
Like,
there.
yeah.
I don't get paid to work there at least. But I've been there at night and something's going wrong, and Eric's by himself trying to fix something. So I've stood next to the thing they cook the pizzas in the oven.
The pizza's in the oven.
Purple haze.
Took the pizzas in, called the oven. The
Y'all
oven was
trip
broken.
on me for losing my.
The oven was broken, and he was
The
trying to fix
oven,
it
the
by
hot
himself.
thing- the hot thing that they- okay.
They put the pizzas in it. It's the oven. So this is taking a fun turn for me. But he's sitting
I
there
love this.
by
I knew
himself
it was
trying to fix it, and there's no one that works there helping him. So I start using my phone flashlight, and then it's been like 15 minutes, and I don't mind a little sweating, but I'm not there to fix a pizza oven.
We have the
I can't even say it correctly.
well, the oven is what it's called, right?
The oven,
yeah.
yes.
So it's got this thing temperature. It's hot.
Yeah. I play soccer.
And when you're right next to it. No, so and you were talking about earlier. So
But Eric will do anything.
some like Stephanie, who I work with, she'll go start to grab one of the giant kegs. I'm like, baby.
She's the weight of a keg.
I'm like, baby, stop.
Coco, put it
That's why I
down.
love Coco. She's a shit.
I'm like, stop. Just even if the bar back's unavailable to do it, just I'll fucking do it. I'd rather do some heavy lifting or.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. I'll do some heavy lifting if it's helping someone that's trying to do it that shouldn't be doing it.
That shouldn't be doing
But
it.
here's the thing. It's not usually I'm not a keg changer. And
Right.
if the bartender, if we'll just call him O'Sheen, because I don't want to make up a fake name for him.
Because you can't. You're not good at making.
What do you
up
call
things.
O'Sheen? Opine? I mean, there's nothing going on there. Opine?
Sean.
O'Sheen. Anyways, he was standing there one day, and Mary trying to move a keg, and I was like, I would get it. And I was like, hey, get that. He's like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, not your job. While you're
Yeah.
standing next to me, not doing anything.
Right.
But if there's nobody around and it's got to be done, let's just do it. We got this.
Okay. So
But if I could see the 21-year-old Alejandro near me, I'm like, hey, Alejandro.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, little guy. Because he's 21.
Yeah.
The back is great.
and just like Jack O'Connor that works with us, if he's available, I'm like, hey, young buck, grab that thing. But let me preface it with this: I have a bar back all the time, but if I need a keg change at the outside bar,
Just do your stuff, yeah.
I'm not gonna. If they're running food or doing whatever, I'm not gonna hunt them down.
Oh, no, I don't make you stop what
It's
you're
gonna
doing.
take me
As long as you're not doing anything, I'll ask for help.
It's going to take me so much longer to hunt them down to be like, hey, will you change this keg instead of just going and grabbing it?
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll go grab it or go grab ice or whatever. And they're like, oh, I would have done that for you. I'm like, I know you would have.
But you're doing something
But
else,
if you're
though.
doing something else,
Now, if you're out there smoking your 7 cigarette,
now, yeah, Mike,
oh, okay.
Don't talk about naked steak like that, bro.
Old Naked Steak.
Naked's what?
Naked Steak, that's his new nickname.
that's yeah,
Tragic Mike is the best name.
tragic. I mean, even,
AKA, look, you can get AKA Naked Steak.
Okay, that's fine. But Tragic
Horace
Mike,
Brunsby,
even
AKA
children
Vinny,
call
AKA
him
Vin
Tragic
Dog.
Mike.
Tragic Mike, I'm not proud of very many things, but I'm proud of
Calling him Tragic Mike first
Of
time.
name-
you did coin the term.
I'm nicknaming him
I'm
Tragic.
trying to think of who I've given nicknames to. Purple Haze will not let me know. It's all in my brain.
Someone is very well. We haven't gotten to them yet, but let's get to the. Do you have a Karen?
I've got a Karen and a half.
Okay, I have a pretty full Darren.
Get
Let's
that ball
hit
again.
it.
Let's see.
Oh shit. It's the Karen of the week. It's the Karen of the week.
I play soccer.
I play. My Darren. Tom Segura Thursday night.
ooh, that
no,
was
no,
a
no,
deep
it's not,
breath.
it's not Tom. Oh.
No, just the Darren has affected you mentally enough. You're
It
right.
really affected.
Okay, I got to get deep in this, Darren.
So after Tom Segura, I go to your house. We took a Uber.
Took our Ubers.
We took a Uber. I drove to your house.
Oh, let's discuss Paxton's Uber situation first, though. Is he can't get Uber to work on his phone because, like, it's whatever reason it won't work. I'm like, I got
No,
this.
no. It's not that it wouldn't work. Shut me. You're pissing me off, man. My card expired,
Right. I know.
and I was trying to put the new code in for my card, and it just wouldn't.
It wouldn't take
fucking
it.
work.
It wouldn't take it. But the thing is, I go, I'll
This
get
is the
it.
first time I've seen y'all mad at each other.
I know.
Like,
Well,
live.
it's funny. It's funny because he's so mad about it now because he was so mad about it then.
You were pissing me off so
It's
bad.
funny 'cause I was like,
Oh, Clint pissed you off.
I go, don't worry about it. I got it. Just Venmo me. And you're like me though. You're like, I must figure this out right
Yeah.
now. And I felt that pain, but that moment, I wasn't the one trying to figure it
So
out.
then,
You were-
then I over Venmo'd everyone. I was like, Rob, did I pay for my ticket? He's like, yeah, I still Venmo'd him money. I was like, Clint, how much was the?
you didn't ask. You just sent me the money. I didn't ask you. You asked me the Uber. You sent me the money, and I was like, I don't want this money, but I'm going to take it just for the principle.
I was pissed.
It was so funny though. The thing is, if you're mad, I'm usually mad too. You were mad, and I was like so jovial. I
Y'all
was
pissed
like,
me off because, all right, I'm not saying I'm a whiz at technology. I'm not saying that I know any goddamn thing about any goddamn thing.
You're better at a Mac than I am for sure, buddy.
I'm not better at anything than any goddamn body.
I'm not saying my computer is so slow. We
But-
tried to boot it up the other day. It took an hour.
You motherfuckers wouldn't listen to me to tell you what exactly was happening with my phone right now, and you're like, "Hey, Paxton can't get a fucking Uber."
You was I included in this?
No, you weren't.
Yeah, it was me and
like,
Rob.
why?
You
Why?
weren't
It is-
included.
it was the thing is we weren't making fun of you because you couldn't figure it. You couldn't explain it to us.
Yes, you were.
It's because we were like, we got this, and you were like, I must do this project.
The thing was, y'all had paid for the Uber on the way down.
I don't remember who paid.
Shoulda gone
I think I
Lyft,
did.
bro.
We did. We lifted on the way down.
You know what, man?
And by the way, shout out
At
to our
least
Lyft
you got
driver.
a friend that's not a piece of shit that's just like, oh, everyone take care of my stuff. I don't know who paid for what. I just wanted to pay for something.
Hey, we've talked about tragic enough, okay? So shout out to on the way down, our Lyft driver was the shit.
All right, on the way down, our Lyft driver was so fucking dope. He was like, we were like, he's like, Tom Segura, is that like a comedy act? We were like, yeah. He's with DJ Premier sometimes in New York, and hopefully he'll be here. And we had
This is one of the premiere thing. Yeah.
we had the best time on the way down.
Look, I brought, as you see on the picture of Paxton's plank booty, flat ass, shelf ass there, that he's like, it's Clint's bottle of vodka water, which Paxton bought that vodka. But I just made 2 half water, half vodka water bottles so we could, top off our beverages. Paxton bought the first round. And so, which I pointed out at the bar, he was like, oh, you got the first round, get this one. So I'm in the Uber, and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I top my drink off right here before we turn left? He goes, oh, yeah, good idea. Don't do it while it's all bumpy. And lets us top our cocktails
Yeah.
off in the car. Like, dude was just every part of the whole ride,
Yeah.
except for the window not going down, was great.
Well, so the ride was short enough to where I didn't need the window to go down.
He drove just fast enough.
Yeah.
Moved just well. It was safe. I felt very safe. with
And
him.
he took direction. Like, hey, I'm not trying to
Yeah.
tell you how to get somewhere, but take this road instead of that road because I'm from here. I can tell you.
I laid the foundation as soon as I get in the car, especially at my
did.
house,
You did.
because you're going to go the wrong way.
You did.
So I go, hey, I would turn left here. He's like, cool, no argument. He was the best.
But then Uber driver on the way back. Well, and we're getting off track. I'll get back to my Darren.
It's okay. Let's make fun of her for a second.
I'll get back to my Darren in a second. But I likened it to. So we get in the van on the way back.
If she hadn't been black, I thought she would have been a serial killer. Because black people aren't serial killers. It's just us.
It's science.
It's just us.
She was listening. I thought it was worship music.
Yeah, it was.
But it was so low in the background.
It was just-
And so Clint sits up front. And typically I take the lead and sit up front to try and be the conversationalist with the driver. And everything Clint would try and say was met with,
Yes.
so then Clint would say something else and be like, yeah, that's right.
Like, we got real sober real quick, too. We were like, oh, yes, trying to be nice to her. And she was just like,
No response at all.
yeah, just want to keep
And I was
quiet
like,
with you.
hey, if you want to turn the music
back
up,
to
it's
call-
super. If you don't want to
Yeah.
talk,
Turn the music up some.
and actually, if you don't want to talk, now, granted,
Looking back to coffee
3
talk.
motherfuckers that look like us
That's true. 3 bearded white boys in a
hopping in a van,
an Uber at midnight.
whatever.
Rob, not me, y'all.
Yeah, really.
It would have been the same if you were there too.
Good of his camera doesn't have a full beard right now, so yeah.
But
Just a little.
at least be like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk on this
Turn
ride.
music
back.
up.
I'd be like, I won't
That's fine.
talk at all.
That's
I don't
fine.
care. Actually, I don't care.
I
to
just
talk.
feel rude being in the front seat of your car.
That's what I'm saying. I like getting in the front to be like, hey,
If I get in the back and if it's just me,
Yeah.
I'll get opposite corner back.
Yeah.
And I'll drop the talk. They don't want to talk. Cool. I'll get on my phone. But when it's 3
But I
people,
saw you struggling to make a connection with
I can
her.
talk to a brick wall.
No, that's what I'm saying. And normally, I don't have to add anything to your conversation.
Well,
You
God,
just
I
go.
can, do you remember me looking back though?
I just fall asleep.
Yeah, Vinny's obviously falling asleep while we talk about cats.
I was so close to falling asleep.
Thing is, I remember we're hitting the bridge, and I look back at you like, what do I do here? Like, because it's
There was nothing to do
because
at that
it's,
point.
It's quiet as shit in there. It's like you walk into a Chinese store to buy something, and it's like like the old school Chinese like Gremlin style shop.
Yeah.
It was like that level of.
I was
volume.
like, girl, turn the music up. Whatever.
Whatever this is.
Can't tell if it's gospel or Jodeci.
I think it was Horse Brunsby.
I didn't know if it was. I didn't know if it was worship music because the moment I got in there, it reminded me, and I've told the story.
How's your night going? First question I always ask.
It reminded me of. I've already talked about it on a previous episode, but coming back from Mount Pleasant and Charleston from an Humphrey show, this guy, we got in the car at like 5 a.m, and he's listening to worship music that was made by his wife. He's like, this is my wife's, and Allie and I are fully ensconced in mushrooms and Molly and
ready
whatever.
to hear the word of the Lord right now.
You know what I need right now for this ride home? Jesus.
There's stickers of hers, like CD. He's like, oh, yeah.
Is there a stack in the middle you could buy one? You want a shirt?
No, he had a QR code.
Was his name Baby Billy?
Come on, baby Billy. Let's baby Billy.
So he was one of those guys. We were getting way off track. I don't care. He was one of those guys. You know how you can,
I get high, you get off track. It's the best.
you can tell that their natural hair color isn't jet black.
Oh yeah.
But when they dye their beard and their hair,
But there's some spots.
that little tiny spot that you can tell.
That little tiny spot. So Karen and Darren's and
Okay, so
all
here's
that
my
bunch of-
Darren.
You
I'm
went
sorry.
to breakfast with Darren.
Oh no, I didn't go to breakfast with Darren. Darren was a part of my breakfast. So Thursday night we go to what? Oh,
Between me and him.
So Thursday night we go to Tom Segura. I go back to your house after the Uva, after the nightmare Uva. I drink 2.5 BioLights at your house before I drive home. So I was sober enough to drive home. I get to the house. I go to sleep at a pretty early hour, like 2:30.
You didn't do what I did and eat one of those spicy Chick-fil-A sandwiches, then go to bed. I was trying to get my own Ulysses going because I woke up and was like, why?
Why did I do that? So I come home. I go to sleep. I wake up about 8:30. Pass the bowl to them. Hey, everyone, they try and not have the camera on them right now, but they're they're passing a bowl around right
No,
now.
he switched it to me while I was
sorry,
hitting it.
I'm distracted for
He
this
switched
one.
it to me while I was hitting it too.
How
Hey, Tom
are we
Segura can
high
do
and
it.
you're distracted
Tom
right
Segura
now,
can
is
do
what
it,
I wanna
Paxton,
know.
you can do it.
Yeah, like
I need to
come
keep
on.
my set going, even though there's all these distractions. So
Shower with your son.
I wake up at 8:30 the next morning after going to sleep at like 2:30, something like that, whatever.
Yeah, you got my house about 1.
So normally I wouldn't have woken up at that time because even when I'm not partying and getting fucked up, I don't go to sleep till like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
whatever. So I'm up at 8:30. There's nothing in the house. I was like, I'm going to the store to get breakfast. So I go to the store. I get a quart of milk. You ever seen the single servings of cereal that's in like the plastic bowl already?
Yeah.
I thought you meant the middle mini box. We discussed that before, but no.
Yeah, not the mini
The mini
box.
box is a bowl too.
But it can be.
It can
I
be.
learned
I
that.
forgot about that. All right, so it's already in a bowl.
Yeah, it's already in
So
like a
when you get
plastic
ramen,
bowl.
already in the cup.
Yeah, I've seen
Exactly.
this.
Okay, I have not seen this, but I don't go down the cereal aisle.
Well, this is at a convenience
They
store.
shall not be tempted.
This is
This is
a
a gas
at a
station.
convenience- Yeah, gas station.
Oh, okay. You don't want to make it to all
So
the
I
way.
get one of those, and I get a Metrex protein bar. Now, for the uninitiated, it might look like a candy bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bring those up to the counter. This old, fat, arthritic piece of shit man was like,
Look, you're making an F face.
You say fat piece of shit for me one time.
this fat piece of shit.
Love it.
He goes, breakfast of champions, am I right? I was like, okay, haha, yes.
Yeah.
This does seem like.
It's not, all. You didn't get ice cream,
So he goes,
did you?
probably, no.
Put it in the
He goes,
cereal?
probably need a beer with that too, don't you? I was like, what? No. Ha 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 ha.
Obviously, you weren't in your golf gear, huh?
I wasn't. I'm gonna get to that part.
Shit, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna get to that part. So I was like, haha, whatever. Here's the exchange. Literally 2 seconds later, he goes, not for real. That's like a terrible breakfast for a human to eat. I was like, are you breakfast shaming me right now?
Are you the breakfast police?
I literally have a fucking protein bar and a bowl of cereal and
And some milk.
And you're trying to breakfast shame me with your
What'd you have? 2 slices of cantaloupe and a yogurt?
with your old fat ass right here. So then I was like,
3 pounds of bacon.
so I was like, oh, I need to cosplay like I used to do with golf. So if I ever want to go to the store early in the morning,
Workout gear?
no, not workout gear. I'm gonna make a fake baby stroller, like not the stroller,
That's what I say in a book
The
bag.
carriage?
but the
carriage?
baby carriage. I will put
Or just a swaddle?
a fake baby in there and be like, oh, getting cereal for the kid.
And then drop it. Kick it over.
Nothing pissed me off more than this old fat piece of shit
It sounds like you were still in a bad mood about the Ubers.
trying
It was a
to
slow.
breakfast shame me for getting a bowl of cereal and a protein bar.
You've never sounded older to me.
But really, the thing that really got me was he goes, I thought he was
He's just hanging out there too. Also,
I thought he was joking, but he literally goes, "Yeah, that's a terrible breakfast for an adult." Whatever the fuck he said.
So he wasn't working the counter.
No, he was the guy.
He was checking you.
Oh, he was checkout guy?
He was the checkout guy.
I couldn't figure this out. I thought at first I thought he was checking you out, and then I just think of like a Tybee convenience store,
That's what I'm
like
thinking. There's
an
somebody
old
just hanging out.
fat piece of shit hanging out.
Not gonna
talking
get any
to
bait
the
today?
This is
old
the-
lady.
This
hanging
is the
out
guy
behind the
taking.
at least you tried to upsell you on the beer.
This is the guy taking my money.
He was like, usually you get beer.
I've
Welcome
never
to
seen him
Tybee.
before. That's the thing. He goes, "Oh, probably want a beer too." I was like, "Do you know me?"
Your
Oh,
beer and cereal sounds terrible.
I was like, I'm not even thinking. Actually, I was like, I'm not even thinking about beer right now because I'm not in golf clothes.
Yeah, God.
And you've never seen
I'm just
him,
wearing
so
my cleats.
He's probably worked there for like a week or two, but he's seen so many people buy beer that early in the morning.
wasn't buying fucking beer.
He was just like, he assumed. He's like, oh.
I was
you
buying
want it?
cereal and a protein bar, and he's trying to trash me about my breakfast choices. He was breakfast shaming me.
I've never heard somebody get
They sell sausage biscuits there too. Like, what is that better?
They weren't out.
Oh, they weren't out.
You know,
They
went to
don't.
Biscuit
They
Aisle
don't
first.
put those out until like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I was there at like 7:30.
You didn't wait. Hey, I think maybe he could have been hanging out for the biscuits. You know, no, I'm waiting for them fresh biscuits.
He was working there.
Yeah. Well, damn.
I want to give Charlotte a shout out for every week. She edits our podcast for us. The captions I put up, I send it to Charlotte, and she fixes it. Charlotte, be glad I don't write them during the podcast for this week.
Horse Brunsby.
Horse Brunsby.
Horse breed. Oh, I didn't know Charlotte did that. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Because look, here's the thing. I have a pretty decent grammar, but when I would write papers in college, I would send them to her first, and she would be like, I don't know what 28 of these words mean, but the rest of it seems like it's in order. And she would, straighten it out for me. Because if you have the advantage of that, why not do it? You know?
Well, whenever I write anything, I care so fucking much about the grammar that it hinders me from completing.
Oh, well, you've seen my notes. I'm like, complete thought? Let's just go for 75% of a thought here, and we'll fill in the rest later. So I have a Karen and a half. My Karen she did this, but this thing she did is something that many, many Karens do in a lot of closed-in restaurants. It's cold in here. Well, it's warm outside. See what we have on inside? The fucking air conditioning, Karen. Because other people are hot, like me and Paxton, who's not even there, but he's hot somewhere right now.
No matter where I
matter
am
where
at
you
any
are.
time of day, I'm hot.
You get
somewhere.
in the cooler.
I'm
They're
sweating
like,
somewhere.
I'm now sweating for some reason. Clint got to me telepathically. So that's the first thing she says. It's cold in here. I'm like, this is the temperature of the room. Look, I'll pull the fan string for you, but the air blows on one table in the front left corner of the room, and they always complain about it. And I'm like, I get it that they're cold, but if you're a person that goes to dinner anywhere, and you're cold 60% of the time, you should be prepared for maybe the cold. How many times did you go outside without sunglasses on before you were like, you know what? The sun seems to be out most of the time I go outside, so I should wear something to cover my eyes.
Maybe I should cover my eyes with something.
And not complain about the sun because the sun's trying to help everybody out. Like the air conditioning is. The air conditioning is it helps. No one wants to eat a meal while you're a meal full of hot, buttery food while you're sweating.
Especially because you can't predict how.
Drinking red wine, too, body temperature up. You're standing next to me, raises a degree or two.
It's so much easier to put on layers.
Yes, I can't get naked in the restaurants anymore, and it's just weird.
And
Speaking of naked steak,
I'm coming of a.
has been naked in a restaurant before.
I'm coming from a perspective of like I'm the sweatiest dude at wherever I'm at. So I appreciate when I go into a place and I'm chilly.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. I'll walk around a couple nights a year. I'll go, ooh, it's really cool in here. Nice. It's too cold in here. And I'll acknowledge that it's too cold for everybody. If I go, oh, I can actually chill in here, then it's too cold. So I'll turn it down or I'll accommodate them a degree or two. But I don't ever go all the way. Because the other night I went by and was like, it's hot here. It said 79 minutes. Yeah, this lady's cold at the table. And I'm like, yeah, all those girls that walked in my table just complained that it's too hot in here and they're not wearing hardly any clothes. And she was like, I'll turn it down one. I'm like, meet me in the middle with two. And she turned it down to 77. And then she ran food. I was like 76.
People will be in Huckapoos like, it's a bit chilly in here. I'm like,
Okay.
in no way.
July.
In no way is it chilly. Oh, it's because you're sitting in front of the giant fan right there.
Put your hands together and go outside and pray to the sky, because that's how the way you're going to get this. So this lady, who starts with that, Her first thing was, I want to sit at the most secluded table in the restaurant because of COVID stuff. Again, I've been there so much time. It's a bistro. There's nowhere secluded. You're not getting away.
Especially at your place.
So
Everything.
the
everyone's
hostess,
supposed to
which
go.
has happened before, goes, "Hey, I gave them to you because they're COVID concerned." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." She's like, "Well, you're probably you're the person that's taking care of
You're
themselves
the
best."
COVID guy.
And I'm like,
we ship them off.
"Okey-doke." And this has been the COVID table 3 times when there's been problems. This is the one where Saram's like, "If you don't like it, get out."
Right.
And so she orders, "How's the duck, ma'am?" Second most popular thing on the menu. My sister's, it's what she always eats here. Some lie I tell about. Charlotte's had dinner. My sister had dinner here 8 times. She's had duck 7. Means my brother-in-law learned how to cook duck. I say that shit all the time. It's great. It works. It sells duck. She's like, "Well, I mean, it's dark meat though, right?" I'm like, No. If you don't get cooked past medium, it's fine." She's like, "So it's dark meat?" I'm like, "It's red meat." She's like, "So it's dark?" I'm like, "The back of the duck is dark meat. The front of the duck titties is red meat."
You're like, how
People
are you?
don't know that. That's okay.
No, I'm saying like if you're defining dark in terms of is it the thigh meat or the breast meat?
Correct.
There's a different definition of that, but
Duck is
all
is
duck.
a hybrid animal. You can cook duck.
I'm saying all duck is dark colored.
I don't see color, but yes. Yes, all of duck is dark colored. But there's red meat and what's considered the dark meat of the chicken.
The dark
what
meat.
are you thinking of?
That's what I'm saying. No,
So I explained this to her. She gets it a little bit. She's like, "So how is the breast?" I'm like, "Look, well, there's a little bit layer of fat on it. The fat cooks into the duck breast, giving it a lot of flavor." I know a lot about cooking ducks. I've cooked 100 ducks easily. And so she's like, "Oh, I'll get it." She gets it. 2 bites in. How's everything? "This duck's a little fatty." I was like, "Well, yes, ma'am, there's fat on the outside." She goes, "Why?" I'm like, "So they can float."
Bam.
And it was a gift from God. It was that Uber
Oh,
ride.
so this wasn't
I've never said it before in my entire life. And I said it, and her husband went, and shook his head correctly.
You should take that as a gift too, because there's so many things that after that, like literally 10 seconds after.
Oh, I'm saving that one. That's in the bank. That's in the duck bank. The duck vault. So, how's everything else? The potatoes, they're still a little lumpy. I'm like, "Well, they're whipped. They're classic potatoes." She's like, "But they're supposed to be smooth all the way through." I'm like, "No, they're not. They're supposed to have a little bit of character because we did this ourselves. We didn't buy them I said they're whipped potatoes, not mashed potatoes, and that's what potatoes are like in France and most places. Potatoes, there's no skin in there, but like, you don't want your potatoes smooth. You want to taste a little bit.
You want texture in there because
Yeah.
if they are completely smooth, you know that you've whipped them to a point where all the starch has come out of them and it's turned into.
You turn this into half of what it could
stodgy
be.
mush.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just butter, milk, and
Yeah.
what was once a potato's friend. And so it's the LaCroix of
It's
potatoes.
like you got there first.
Yeah, purple haze.
Look at us synergy.
Sativa. So she complains about that. I'm like, all right. So the manager's like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "Take the $9 house salad off her bill, if you will." She goes, "Okay." So I took it off her bill, but I was like, "Don't take it off. Comp it." So I get to explain to her that it's gone, but it's still on the check, which I don't like that usually. But for her, I wanted to point at it. So I circled it. She was the type of person that always complains about money. Once they hit a certain age, they're very concerned about money, this entire group of people. And so she was that kind of Karen anyways. But she's like, I was like, "Hey, the salad's off here." She's like, "But it's still," I'm like, "Well, is the tax still on there?" And I just stare at her
Wow.
like, 63 cents, huh?
Wow.
Super concerned. And I just say something like, I'm like, "Well, enjoy your evening," and just leave. I'm like, I don't even want to answer that.
What else can I do at this point?
Karen gets up to go to the bathroom before she leaves, puts a mask on, and like walks by people holding her mask like ugh. I'm like, you've been in the room the whole time. I spit on your check. You're fine. I did not spit on her check.
That is some insecurity. Okay, so that's projecting like.
She needed to feel like she was still top clucking Karen.
How fucking insecure and small is that to where no matter how you feel, no matter what you're feeling, no matter how insecure you are or whatever, if you have the thought of making someone else by putting
your hand over your N95 mask you've been wearing
these
for weeks.
people didn't do any goddamn thing to you.
No, they didn't whip your potatoes hard enough. I'm sorry. I know you like things whipped a lot, Karen.
Are you trying to put yourself above someone else because
Yes, hence the whipping jokes I keep making.
does
It's the whole point of the
Get-
Karen. They're above us all.
But and the cold thing. Look, ladies, I know you get cold. I know you like wear little fun little outfits. Just bring a jacket. Bring a jacket. It's fine.
it's easier to put on layers than it is to take
Yeah.
off
Jean jackets
layers.
are back in too, so like wear a jean jacket.
So are mullets.
So are
you know?
mullets. Party in the front.
They're everywhere. Their mullets are
After
fucking
party in the back?
everywhere in Savannah.
Is that, after,
It's party in the front,
after party in the back. Speaking
Well,
of the after party,
Yeah, so join us in the Patreon after party because Paxton has the P-roll bet. Let's do an F count. Well, we don't need.
no, let's get those numbers, Vinny.
We-
The numbers, Vinny's in control.
We
Vinny, go ahead. I'll
we
pull
don't
up
need
my
to
phone
do an
cord.
F count.
I couldn't tell if he said top cucking Karen or I think you have Clint has 3.
I don't think it matters how many anyone else has.
Paxton has 20. I tried to keep count. Like 20 is like
I lost count at like 15.
No
It was
need
like-
to keep
I was
count.
gonna like restrain myself, but Clint like I was like, all right.
No,
we can do
you.
it.
Once I said just the random one for no reason, you all of a sudden were like, "All right, boys, the water's warm. Let's go."
We
Paxton's at 30 now.
We open the spigot. No worries.
Well, guess what? In the after party, we fuck a lot.
Oh yeah. So before we go,
Subscribe to us on Patreon, please.
Yeah. Subscribe on Patreon, and if you want to hear the story about family members getting arrested.
Getting arrested at my sister's wedding.
Clint's going to tell about my family members. I'm not even going to.
I may be getting shit about this in a couple days from Charlotte. I'm Charlotte. If you give me some shit, haha.
That's why you subscribe to
I guess it's
Patreon
right,
to hear the real shit. All right, we love you guys.
All right, we'll see you all there.
I've had to pee for like 30 minutes.